Welcome everyone to today's presentation for our monthly Business Boost series airing in the last week of each month. This is our 7th episode in our ongoing series, and if this is your first time with us, welcome. Recordings of our previous episodes are available at our website. Just search for Business Boost. I'm your host, Randy Bowers, and I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning for our Wowing Potential Clients with Your Website webinar. Joining me today are Lonas Group President Denise Lonas and CEO Shauna Neff. More introductions for them in just a moment. A strong website is the cornerstone of your online presence, where people that don't know you can verify and learn about your expertise and the services that you provide. An old or dated website that doesn't look good and mobile may leave your business potentially quietly leaking away, while a good website can bring new clients calling. In this webinar, we'll be covering how to use your brand as a basis for a compelling website, building your personality into your website, the features that visitors love, and as a bonus, some time-saving website features for agents that are included in sites that we build. As I mentioned, also with me here today is Lonas Group President and Real Estate Coach Denise Lonas, as well as Lonas Group CEO Shauna Neff. Shauna, good morning. How about we get things going here? We have a lot of great advice to share.
Absolutely. Well, welcome everyone to Wowing Your Potential Clients with Your Website with Denise Lonas and Randy Bowers. I am Shauna of the Lonas Group, and today Randy and Denise are going to be covering all the different aspects of your website and why now it's absolutely critical to not just rely on those easy go-to templates when it comes to having an online presence. And you may not know this, but Denise, Randy, and I have been working together for more than a decade, and in that time alone, technology has seen considerable changes, everything from smartphones to social media, video, and more. And technology has become this really integral part of our everyday lives. And that spells opportunity for you. But the hub of it all really is your website. And we're going to talk today about how you can make it irresistible and a resource that keeps your potential clients coming back for more. So Denise and Randy, I'm going to go ahead and turn that presentation back over to you. Your screen looks great.
Welcome everyone. So today what we're going to do is we're going to split this up a little bit, and I'm going to have Randy talk about some of the technical side of the website world and kind of what he's seen over the last decade in terms of changes and what people love and what they're looking for and that sort of thing. But the most important thing that you have to really grasp from today's webinar is a real understanding of where you fit in this world of websites and your competition. Because the reality is, it doesn't matter how good you think your website is. It matters solely on how good your clients and potential clients think your website is. And I'm sure some of you have experienced where you have clients that will say, you know what, I always use this particular website. So you're working with a buyer, and buyers might say, well, I do all my online searching with this particular company. I like their search functionality. I like the reminders they send. I like the way their math works. So it's a really delicate line and balance when you're creating a website to make sure that when you're creating your website, you don't just create it because you like it. You create it with your clients in mind. And today's clients are very particular about the way they like to search. If you look at the changes, as both Randy and Shauna have spoken about, the changes to technology. I know in our own company, it is a full-time job, literally, for Randy to keep up with those changes because we have to stay current and we have to make sure that our website has all of the latest and greatest features. So in real estate, it's no different. Every single real estate agent out there battles this, getting found online situation that we all have experienced from time to time. So the key today, we're going to talk a lot about kind of what your clients want to see, but also the importance of it. So when you think about your online presence, you have to think about more than just having a pretty website. Your website has to have an engine. It has to do something. Your website also really is what I would say is the hub of your online presence. So every generation, not just millennials, even the older baby boomers, as some of my colleagues have tended to call us because I'm a baby boomer, we are online all the time. I'm online all the time. I look online, I shop online, I compare online, I look for reviews online. I was looking for a restaurant the other day with one of my daughter's friends because I wanted to take her out for breakfast because it was her 21st birthday. And her and I are in the car and she wants Eggs Benedict. And it's a very particular thing she wanted. We found 4 restaurants in our area that served Eggs Benedict. What did we do? We didn't just go to their websites and see a pretty picture of Eggs Benedict because we know that everyone uses stock photography. No, we're at a different level now. Now we're going to Yelp and we're looking online and we're reading reviews. And we chose a restaurant solely based on, we looked at the pictures from the website, and that gave us the sense that, okay, this looks good, but now let's verify. So your website has to, first of all, have an amazing visual presence, but you also need to be found in other places. And when we were able to look other places and find that connection, oh, this restaurant keeps coming up as having great Eggs Benedict, we went, and sure enough, we had great Eggs Benedict. So the thing that you have to understand is that every generation is looking online. They want to know who you are. They want to know about you. They want to see video on your website. They want you to tell them what's different, what's better, or what is unique about you. And if you're not doing that on your website, they're just not going to look further through you. They're going to keep looking until somebody clearly lays it in front of them. Here's what you're looking for, and I have what you offer. The other thing is that when you think about your online presence, is it an online presence that is standing out? Is your presence standing out, or are you just one of many websites out there? So the one thing that we have to think about is you have to think about visual impact online. What is visual impact online? What does that look like? What are you wanting to say about your business? Visual impact is absolutely critical. If you do not have strong visual impact, people will lose interest in you extremely quickly. So the challenge with visual impact is that what people do is they have kind of like a hodgepodge of materials, and this hodgepodge of material creates online confusion. So that's the problem, is that if you do not have a cohesive brand online, if it is not visually impactful online, if it does not say a lot about who you are, then that is going to create that confusion. So that is why your website is really, your website is the hub of everything that you do. When you think about agents that are having challenges in their business in terms of getting leads, a lot of agents have decided that they cannot drive leads to their sites the way that these big real estate tech companies can. So what they've done is they have let go of their websites, and what they're doing instead is they're just keeping a mini website on their company website. And then what they're doing is they're paying a separate fee to a lead generation company in order to bring leads together to them. What happens is you then become reliant on a lead generation company, and that is costly, it is risky, and the minute they change something, that's a problem. Here's a great example. A great example is for even in the world of vacation rentals. VRBO is a very, very famous, very popular vacation rental site. Many landlords and owners of rental properties, vacation rental properties, were decimated in the last 2 years because VRBO changed their algorithm. VRBO changed the way they do things, and all of a sudden, all of these landlords that have relied on VRBO and did not have their own websites, what happened is the algorithm changed, and many of those owners lost business because they weren't keeping up with the changes that VRBO was doing. So there's a great example of having that relationship where you're reliant on it, but if there's a change and you're not on board with that change or quick enough with the change, you get left behind. Having your own website and having that strong visual impact, that's absolutely critical. If you're not taking the time to write your content, if you're just buying stock content and you're hoping that that's going to do it, or you've got a ghostwriter, the problem with it is that your personality isn't showing up online. And I'll tell you something that happened to me years ago. So, as you guys know, I write the Zebra Report, and I've been doing the Zebra Report for many, many, many years, every Thursday. And I remember one time somebody sent me a response to one of my Zebra Reports, and the woman said to me, because my writing is a little bit different, I kind of write like I speak, and that's my personality. And I remember that an agent, she was a lady that sent me an email, and she said, I'm going to forgive some of your, it's the cutest email. She said, I'm going to forgive some of your grammar errors, which just really bothered me, but it was cute. She said, because your voice is so powerful. And that really affected me. And I remember calling her and I said, I want you to explain that to me. And she said, I am an English teacher, a past English teacher. She now is selling real estate. And she said, so I can't help it. She said, it's just in my genes that when I look at any written piece, she says, I can't even read something without pointing out every little error. And she says, there's a few little grammatical things that could be improved with your writing. She said, but your voice is so powerful. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she said, when I'm reading your Zebra reports, I feel like you're sitting right here telling me this. You're talking to me. So she said, it doesn't feel canned. It feels very, very real to me. So she said, I just wanted to let you know I forgive you for the grammar. And I remember from that point on thinking, this is pretty powerful stuff. And I'm going to stay true to myself and I'm going to have that voice. That's why for a lot of people, having video on their website is so important, because video shows the voice, right? And that really gives a person a sense of who you are. Same thing online. Do your visual images really tell the story of who you are and what you do? Does your content tell the story of who you are? Is it your voice? Don't be afraid to say something and to take a position on something. Too many agents don't do anything because they're afraid of doing something in error. Do you see what I mean? Too many agents do not do anything because they're afraid of doing something in error. So that's what I want you to really constantly be thinking about. Very, very, very important. So let me just talk a little bit now about print, online marketing channels, your website. It doesn't matter what you have out there. It could be your social media sites, your website, your marketing, your print marketing. Everything needs to have a cohesive look. And most agents don't take the time to develop that. What they'll do is they might use some company materials for their print. They might have maybe a company website, or maybe a friend has offered to do a website for them. It is adequate, but it's not powerful. And if you want to have a powerful online presence and a powerful web presence, all of those things need to be cohesive, because if you don't do that, it creates confusion. And I can't tell you how many times I have seen a sign for something and then I've seen their web address and I've gone to check them out online and the website looks different. And that just happened to me recently, where I met somebody and he gave me his card, and his truck was, he had his van, it was wrapped, and I liked the fact that it was branded and it looked really cool. And I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of progressive. And he was a painter, and I thought, okay, this is cool. He gets branding. And then I went to check him out online, and he had a canned website. Absolutely nothing matched, the person that I had met and the van that I had looked at. And for a moment, I'm like, do I have the right place? Then I'm trying to compare telephone numbers, and I realized, okay, this is the right place. Obviously, he doesn't care about his online image, and that's fine. Now, for me, because I verify and compare everything, that created a disconnect, and the disconnect is what you're trying to avoid in real estate and online. Here's a great example. This is a fantastic agent, Gary Nems, sharp, professional, reliable, great people skills, great client care skills, detail-oriented. And when I look at his brand and when I look at his website, his online presence, everything matches. Everything has that same cohesive look and feel. So if I met him and he handed me his business card in the bottom right-hand corner, look what happens when I look online. And let's say that I'm on my tablet or I'm on my phone, on my iPhone, and I go and check him out online. There's that instant I'm at the right place. And there's something very powerful about, with a website, people finding you and going, I'm in the right place. So this is this is a great example of brand cohesiveness and bringing that brand from print over to online. Here's just a beautiful example of, absolutely love this example of Gary's website, and how when you look at, for example, at the top banner, when you go to his website and it opens up, you see these three boxes, really, nice, easy navigation where you can go But when you go to one of those navigation points, now, I see Gary's face. There's that connection, even from one page to the next. And this is the thing where oftentimes I see the mistake agents make is they've got a great, pretty homepage, because you can buy those pretty homepage template sites really cheap online. But the mechanics, the branding, the cohesiveness is not carried through the entire site. And you can always tell a well-done site by how cohesive it is. So very, very important when you're thinking about creating a website. We can talk about the technical side of it all day long. You can have a technically correct website, but you have to remember that what you really need is a website that has a balance between cohesiveness, visual online impact and presence, and the technical side of real estate. So Randy, why don't we talk a little bit of the technical side now? I'm going to pass it over to you to talk a little bit about some of the things that I think you're seeing and that we've seen in the last year or so of what people are really interested in, and especially these features that they seem to just absolutely love.
Oh, you bet. I'd love to have a conversation about that. Well, one of the things that I enjoy about what I do is that I get to oversee every client's website project that comes through our doors. As Director of Technology, I'm there on every beginning intake call. I'm answering strategy questions along the way, all the way through to the end when the site goes live and we're setting up a training call to orient our client on what their new websites can do. Things have definitely changed over the last 2+ decades that I've been involved in website design. From largely hobbyists and university websites, that's all that you could find back in the 90s, to today, where we have a fully commercialized and increasingly mobile-friendly internet. And a lot of thought has gone into how we create websites, how we attract people to them, what makes one enjoyable by its visitors. And here's 8 things that we've noticed that attract and retain visitors at real estate websites. We see mobile, touch-friendly design, always accessible navigation, easy contact options, visual testimonials, having market trends on your website, personal resource pages, IDX services and community pages. And of course, if you added in that video and blocking stuff, which we talked about earlier, this kind of rounds out our list to a nice count of 10. But I'm going to kind of go into detail on each one of these 8 things. Now, not every website has all of these features. Not all of them are suitable for every agent's needs. IDX may not fit into an agent's business strategy. Another agent may work in a very rural area and not want to commit to creating community pages. But as a whole, these are the kinds of things that we see attracting potential clients and leading them to spending more time at an agent's website. So let's take a look at some of these in a little more detail. So mobile and touch-friendly websites, if done right, this is a feature that's appreciated, but your visitors aren't going to notice it unless it's done wrong. Good design is definitely a feature when it allows your visitors to comfortably use a website, while bad design can send visitors to their back button. In 2008, less than 1 in 5 visitors were mobile. 2 years ago, back in 2016, it was half of all visitors, and today it's close to 60% of visitors to real estate agent websites, a clear majority. Mobile, it's no longer an optional feature. It's something that your visitors expect. And search engines have taken note of this too, and now they consistently apply a small penalty to where non-mobile websites show up in search results. So your website visitors, they want a website that should adapt its design to something that is friendly to their smaller screen. So we can see here, we've got Dale Schlotzhauer's beautiful Bluegate Homes website, which we branded and built. And you can see all in one place here how her website changes its format depending on whether a visitor's on a desktop over here, on a tablet, or on a phone-sized screen. On the desktop, we've got our standard desktop navigation, but as we move over to the tablet, there's a mobile navigation here and on the phone as well. That's become a touch-friendly navigation instead of these drop-down menus. And our calls to action, they've changed position here on the desktop or on the tablet. You can see them going across horizontal. We've moved them to a more vertical format here. Nice big friendly buttons that people can use. And we've also, on the mobile phone one, right up here at the top, a little hard to see because it's so small in this picture, but there's now a contact bar that's been added to the top of the mobile phone version where people, no matter where they are on the website, this little bar sticks to the top and they can tap to call that phone number or get her email address, always accessible for those mobile visitors so they don't have to hunt for it. All of this happens automatically, this change. Dale doesn't have to worry about it. She doesn't have 3 different websites. It just automatically adjusts for every visitor of her website. Now, I mentioned that good design is a feature that visitors love, and they notice it when it's missing, but done right, it becomes invisible, making it easier for your visitor to enjoy your content, smoothing the way for them to stick around longer. And some of the things that we consider in design, I've illustrated here on this mobile version of Alan Wang's website. This is another client of ours. Here, we've made sure that number 1, we've got a gap of space along the edge of the screen so people can easily scroll while they read without accidentally clicking on something or their fingers getting in the way of what they're looking at. We've got proportionately larger text compared to what's at their desktop website. That makes it easier to read and more enjoyable for them, and they can quickly scan and understand the website while they're finger scrolling through it. We've got easily identifiable mobile navigation up here that's always available so that they can get to that and they don't have to hunt around for it. It's not surrounded by a bunch of clutter. And then we've got these well-spaced call to action buttons right here. And so that when people are using this website, if they're going to click on something, they can confidently tap it with their finger. They don't have to worry about accidentally tapping something that's next door to it and going somewhere that they weren't expecting. They don't need to zoom in on the website to be able to use it with confidence. And if we took any one of these considerations away from our design, our visitors would definitely notice and it would frustrate them. So these kinds of design decisions are things that, whether our visitors realize it or not, they love. Another thing that visitors of real estate websites love is always available navigation. There's definitely situations where it's not appropriate, but increasingly visitors benefit from always available navigation. This is where the navigation option, like what you see right here along the top of the screen on the left, when the visitor is scrolling down through the website, this piece sticks to the top of the website. And so as they've scrolled down here, we can see that this piece right here, the navigation, it's stuck to the top of the website, the whole header. It's adjusted itself to use up some less space. And this convenience, it allows visitors to swiftly navigate through your website and consume more of your content, encouraging them to explore and also reminding them that there's information or features that they may have not seen yet, like home search tools. So if I was reading a really long page, maybe I go to an agent's biography and I scroll down and I read the whole thing, and I'm no longer looking at where the navigation is on a website because this website doesn't have this feature. I may not scroll all the way back up and then explore onto other pieces of the website. I may feel like I'm content at this stage and I'll just go somewhere else. But if this navigation is always present, then now I'm reminded of the fact that, oh yeah, there were those other things I was interested in taking a look at while I'm here. So this is one of those things that helps visitors stick around a little bit longer and get to know you better. It slows them down and gives them an opportunity to see what you're really about. Another thing that is really important in your website is easy contact options. And the key word here is options, more than one. In the service industry, most website visitors, they don't realize it, but nearly half of the time that somebody comes to your website, they're just looking for one thing. They're looking for your contact information. And this is a prime part of your conversion strategy too. I mean, if a visitor can't find your contact information, or they can't figure out how to get in touch with you in their preferred way of getting in touch with you, then you might miss out. So here we've got a great example. This is Rosita Wishmeyer's website. And she has a lot of ways that people can get in touch with her. Right at the top, we have her contact information. This is her phone number. It's visible the whole time, even as we scroll down to the bottom of the page. This gray bar sticks to the top. Included here is a link to her Facebook business page and her LinkedIn profile, making it really easy for people to verify her business or to learn more about her in those ways. At the bottom, we have another number of ways that people can get in touch with her. We would have her email address right here. We've got a large contact form right here. And again, at the top, we would also have that contact bar at the very top with your phone number and social media icons, which you can again find right down here at the bottom. So that provides half a dozen or more ways for people to easily get in touch with Rosita in whatever way they want to get in touch with her. It's super easy, no matter where they are. Visual testimonials. Every agent should have a system for feedback from their clients and a strategy for quality testimonials. We encourage agents to ask their clients if they can have a picture included beside their testimonial, or if the client would mind sharing part of their experience in a video. This makes your testimonials, your accolades, so much more credible and relatable. Credible and relatable. Your visitor can see, hey, this is a real person that this agent worked with. That personal touch makes a huge difference. It encourages visitors to look further at your testimonials, actually read the personal account found there. And when it makes sense to, your agents, you guys should include testimonials in multiple places throughout your website. On your home page, on your buyer's page or seller's page, on your contact page. This way, visitors have more opportunities to see them, and after they've connected with one, that is encouraging them to then go to your main testimonials page and see more of them. This is a great way for people to even further validate and get a sense of the kind of service that you provide. And proof being much more authentic because you've got pictures of those clients that you serve next to those testimonials. Another thing that people love to see on agents' websites are market trends. A few things say Market Expert as clearly as including market trends on your website for the areas that you serve, especially if you take a moment to explain what it is the visitor is seeing. As an agent, it might be obvious to you, but most of your visitors, they don't know enough to interpret that median sales price graph or active versus pending chart. Here on Chris Labrie's website, she makes it super easy for visitors to find her market tools. It sits front and center on her homepage, taking visitors to a place where they can select from a variety of communities that she serves and then see what's happening in the market. Denise, what do you think people should include when they're talking about these different communities, when they're showing these graphs, and how should they explain them? Do they need to be reporting on them? Do they need to come up with their own unique information? What works best there?
What I think is really important on your website, whatever area you specialize, you have to go very deep and very wide with it. So for example, let's imagine it's a particular community. I would want you to tell me everything about that community. I want to know how it's appreciated over the last 5 years. I want to know total number of sales over the last 5 years. I want a history. I want a history, and then I want a past, I want a present, and I want you to tell me how you think it's going to do in the future. And I know a lot of people are afraid to do that, but that's having that voice. That could be something as simple as what I see for this community over the next 5 years. And it could be me just explaining the powerful growth I've seen and how and why that particular community has grown, and what are the foundational elements that have contributed to that growth, and why I think that is going to just continue and at what rate. And I think you have to really be prepared if you're going to be an expert on anything or an area, that you have to be able to provide as much information as you absolutely possibly can. There are some agents that all they do is they geographically farm through their websites, meaning that their websites are all about being neighborhood community sites, and those community sites are just rich with information. You can go to those websites and you very quickly know that this person is the expert in that particular area. So I think the one thing I love about having a strong online presence is that the more you niche, the richer you get. And we've heard that before. You have to niche to get rich in real estate. And a website is just the most powerful way to do it. But again, it has to be cohesive with everything you do, or it just doesn't have the strong engine to get you where you want to go.
I'm thinking of two particular agents' websites, one in Vancouver that did a 365 things to do in Vancouver each day of the year, or another agent's website down in California that specializes in golf courses, where she went into huge details about what's happening in the market around each one of the neighborhoods and the different golf courses in that area.
Right.
Those websites are enormously successful.
And just like the other, the other client that in Miami, that it's all about condos, and there's an agent down in Las Vegas, and he's very particular. You go to his website and you know that he sells condos in Vegas, but he only sells condos on the Strip. If you call him and say, I want to sell my condo, he's going to say, well, before you tell me anything about the condo, give me the address. And he'll tell you straight out, I'm sorry, I don't sell condos off the Strip. I only sell condos on the Strip. And you could, and I've done it. I've had a conversation where I've said to him, are you not even interested in looking at the condo? No, it's not my specialty. My specialty is on the Strip. So that's powerful marketing, because he's targeted. And for all the no's that he has to deliver, no, I can't help you. You're off Strip. Here's a person that may be able to help you, but I'm not it. There's a lot of, hey, I'm your guy, because he knows what he's doing and he's known for it. And his website's very specific about what he does and does not do.
It takes a little bit of fearlessness, but that niche focus makes a big difference to his business.
Absolutely.
Another thing that clients love on their websites that they go and visit is, this is for your clients that they love. They love it when you go the extra mile. And there's a lot of ways that agents can go the extra mile and at the same time demonstrate their tech savvy. One of those is to create a password protected page for your client at your website. There, at your beautifully branded website, that client can log in and access resources that you, the agent, have made available. There's lots of things that you might include on a client's personal page, like a pending to close calendar that outlines the process, typical schedule for when things like inspection, contingencies, title report, and closing occur. Sample agreements like a listing contract or offer to buy. Disclosure information, whether it's what your seller is including in disclosure or what your buyer has learned from a listing that they're making an offer on. Copies of inspection reports, notes that you have taken on a home while you have previewed for your client. Like if you went out and you looked at a home ahead of time, or if your client is buying and they're out of town, this is a great place for you then to get that access to that information too. But also, if you take clients out on a day of touring homes and they look at 6 or 7 homes, and at the end of the day, they can't remember what that first property looked at. So you've been taking notes and you include those notes and you put them in this area so they remember what the heck it was they spent their day doing. A list of must-haves and desired features that the clients provided to remind them of their goal and to keep them on track. Or market information for the bracket and type of property they're looking for, maybe a copy of their CMA. There's all kinds of valuable information you can put into a personal client page that really makes it a centralized information hub for your real estate client. Clients love this, and it's not hard to do. Another thing that clients really like is IDX features, not just clients, but visitors of your website. For websites that have an IDX, these features should not be underestimated, although often I do see them underutilized by agents. IDX is a service that connects an agent's website to the MLS so that current listing data can be automatically updated and shown to your website visitors. Sometimes agents will ask me, what's the point? Why bother paying extra for an IDX service when people can just go to one of the big aggregators like Redfin or Zillow? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. For example, in your area, Redfin or Zillow or one of these other aggregators, they may not have a data sharing agreement with your MLS. So their data may be suspect. It may be dated or old. It may not be fresh. Also, while these aggregators are almost impossible to compete with on the national market, for your local market, in your communities that you work in, with the right focus, it's very possible that you can compete and rank higher than these companies for people who are searching for things specifically in your area. And IDX is a key part of making that happen. IDX adds fresh content, meaning houses as they come onto the market, highly relevant content to what you do. You're a real estate agent after all. It adds all of that to your website, and search engines love that. For your visitors, they might benefit from searching at a vendor like Redfin, but when they come to your website, if they come to your website and you have IDX services, they will stick around longer than if you didn't, 2 to 4 times longer by our tracking statistics. If you have IDX features at your website, your visitors will hang out and take more time to take a look at your website. That means more exposure to your brand, more exposure to your message. It slows them down and might slow them down enough to take a look at other parts of your website too. Here are some popular features available through most IDX search services. Of course, the big obvious one, search features. But you got to remind your clients that you have search features. Not everybody wants to use the giant nationwide aggregators. Many people prefer to use a local resource when searching for homes. They have that sense of more connectedness with the community. And you can encourage that by confidently stating how your website receives updates directly from the MLS multiple times daily. People often share links to homes that they're looking at with friends and family. And if that's a link to your website, that's an opportunity for those people to be exposed to your branding and professionalism too. Listing update emails. Now, many clients ignore this feature because they can also get it from their MLS too. But used right, it can be a powerful one. If you want to easily connect with your sphere and provide them with useful information, just follow up with them. Ask them, would you like to be updated on what's selling in your neighborhood? Very few people will turn you down. And then you can set them up with a listing drip email campaign on a very specific geographic area. Not only are you satisfying their curiosity and reminding them that you're a resource, but anytime that they go to view the details of one of those listings, they're doing it at your website, where they can see your portrait, access your other information, and the power of your brand is again reinforced on them. Accounts for buyers. Sure, you can set up accounts for buyers at your MLS. Nearly any IDX service also lets you do this. Again, reinforcing your brand and giving your service that personal touch each time that your client signs in to look at a home that they've toured or that you think that they might be interested in. They're doing it through your website. They are receiving a personalized service to them. They're not just going to a generic MLS page. Calculators. Now, many IDX services offer a superior mortgage calculator than you see at your typical real estate agent's website. They don't just show payments for a particular property, but a full amortization table that you and the client can use to discuss equity growth. Some even include current rates from local lenders so that your website visitors can get started on the path to pre-approval and see what rates are actually reasonably available in their local market. Other common features that we see, both for buyers and sellers, again, buyers who can request a showing. That's a great way for you to connect with new buyers, allowing them to reach out directly to you from a specific listing page, or for sellers requesting a valuation. And how you phrase that, whether it's request a home consultation or a home valuation, whatever it is that you couch that in, that's an opportunity for you to attract a seller to reach out to you so that you can pursue that conversation. And in the background, whether it's buyers or sellers, most of these IDX services, they're going to track both of them, making it easy for you to know when one of them fills out a form or what kinds of properties they're looking at while at your website. So you have a more insightful and deeper conversation with them when you do have that conversation. Now, Denise, we were talking about these just a little bit earlier here. We touched on the possibility of community pages. And here's another great example. Back here, we're looking at Gary Nim's branding once again. And there's a lot of great things that real estate agents can include on their community page. These are powerful. Wouldn't you agree?
You know, if I'm going and if I'm looking for an agent, I'm also looking for, I don't just want to know about them, their personality. Yes, it's Gary Nim's website, but tell me what you know. Tell me where you work. Tell me what I want to know. So when you have an amenities page or local services, or you're talking about the schools and you've got an opinion about things, and you're talking about Bellevue, for example, not just in the technical term, but also through your eyes. I think the key is that agents are not, the content on their website, for many of them, it's too generic and it's not through your eyes. If I'm going to be talking about a community I'm passionate about, I'm going to let people know I specialize in this community. I've been here for 12 years. I've seen incredible changes, but I have seen such growth. Let me tell you why people buy in this area, why they love this area, why they come back to this area, why they live longer in this area, right? Like, so really get your community pages also need to have your voice. And I think the more personal you can make them, the better.
Absolutely. I mean, this qualifies the agent as an expert in the area, if nothing else on their website does. And this is information that also helps a search engine understand that this isn't just some agent's website. This is a real estate agent who focuses on these communities and has lots of great information about these communities. So if I'm a search engine and somebody's searching for, I want to know about best homes in Bellevue or best homes in Clyde Hill, homes for sale in Renton or wherever they're searching, if that's something that's being featured on that real estate agent's website, they're going to do a lot better than a real estate agent that doesn't have any community pages, that doesn't go into this stuff in detail. So
Exactly.
Amenities, local services. This, if you're relocating into an area, a community page can be something really useful for that visitor who's relocating into your area, so they understand, oh, what's around this area that this agent is farming? What is nearby in the local community? What am I going to be entertained by? Are there medical services or those kinds of things, because I'm moving, because I'm retiring? All different kinds of questions. So think about what your audience is, your target audience, and connect them with what's nearby in the communities that you serve. Community pages, if you are like geographical farming for a particular development, you might include local HOA information in there. That can be really useful to people and a great way for you to also connect with the HOA organization themselves. You can include active listings in the area. If you're doing that with an IDX service, they'll just automatically stay up to date. You don't have to mess with them. There's always fresh listings on your community page. If you have access to great schools information, that's from greatschools.com, you can have that kind of information here too. Sometimes that information can be provided to you through an IDX service, for example, or you might subscribe to it independently. That can be really good information, especially if you're working with younger buyers and people who are working in the area that might have children. Also, really useful to people, walkability maps. Is this a community area where there is a walking lifestyle, a nearby park, sidewalks? How close are the stores? What kinds of those amenities are within walking distance? That's another kind of information you can put in here. And of course, as we already talked about, and as Gary, you can see here, just peeking up from the bottom of the screen, he's also got market information for his community pages too. Also a good place for that. Let's talk a little bit about some time-saving broker features. I'm gonna move on here.
Excellent.
We've got just enough time for this bonus, and this is not necessarily features that your visitors love, but it's definitely features that real estate agents love, and that can save them a lot of time. These are all features that we build into our websites, with the exception of listing syndication, which you have to have an IDX service to do. So a lot of agents, they don't realize it, but the websites that we make, if you are too busy to log into your website and do some kind of logging, did you know that you can send an email to the websites that we make, and you can email your blog post to it and it'll post it for you? Pretty easy. It's a snazzy feature that saves a lot of time. Another thing that our websites can do is that when that blog post gets posted, it can automatically alert all of your social media channels. So you email your website a blog post or type it in, whatever your preference. And then as soon as you post it, an alert goes out to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, whatever your social media networks are, and posts something to them for you to let that audience know that there's content at your website. That brings more visitors to your website, saves you time. Website can also be set up with entirely automated reblogging. This is pretty slick. So if you have a franchise or if you are subscribing to a content service that creates real estate content for your area, and you can take that and, provided their rules allow for it, and have it automatically brought into your website so that you don't have to always be on point. You happen to get busy for a couple of weeks and you don't have time to do blogging, your automated reblogging has your back and is putting new information on your website for people to consume. Also, if you have an IDX service, and this is particularly useful if you're operating independently or out of a boutique brokerage, but a lot of IDX services can provide you with automatic listing syndication services. So if you're not getting that from your franchise, that's another piece of the puzzle that you can use to have automatically happening at your website and saving you money. Again, all of these things, this is all stuff that the sites that we build do. Okay, Denise, so that wraps up everything that I've got here. Let's do a quick talk about video.
Okay, video is by far, in my opinion, literally one of the most powerful things you can have on your website. We've got many clients that have embraced video, and for most of them, when they started, there's that nervousness about doing video, but the agents that have embraced it, once you do video and you see the impact, the response, the just the power of just how it makes that instant connection with someone, you won't go backwards. Here's a great example of one of our clients, John Fiala, who really embraced video, and he's done so many of them. He's done such a great job with them. His videos only keep getting better and better. But when you go to John's website, when you experience any of his videos, the common theme of all of his videos really convey this welcoming, approachable, authentic personality that is so engaging, you really just want to pick up the phone and call him. Yet when he started, he was shy, he was nervous, he was worried about the technical function of the videos, but yet him just starting, executing, doing it, and being consistent and continuing on has been extremely valuable for him, and as it has for many, many of my clients. However, getting agents to do video is like asking an agent to happily go and get a root canal. They just don't want to do it. And the fear around video is always ego-based. How I'm going to look, how I'm going to appear, what people are going to think of me. And the thing is that you're being hired because of who you are. So if you can just always think about being authentic in your videos and just presenting yourself as you are, that's going to bring business to you. Absolutely. So I'm going to have Shauna address some branding issues in a moment and just to do a wrap up. But here's what I want people to really know about the power of branding and the power of carrying that branding onto your website and your online presence and your social media and everything you do. Having a strong brand lets people know that they're in the right place when they find you online. It lets them, it gives this feeling of cohesiveness and that you have a system and that you have order. So it's really, really important to don't disregard the branding side of it. Don't just grab a website because you can buy a website online for $29. You get what you pay for. Your website has to be custom. It has to have an engine. It needs to have all the features that Randy was talking about. Those things are critical. Without any one of those features, you could be losing out on a client that needs those features and is looking for those things. So when you are creating your website, you also have to always think about what is the goal of the website. And if the goal of your website is just to have a place online where people can have your phone number, Well, really, you could literally go online and buy yourself a $29 website. If you need a website that is going to create that cohesiveness for you and have an engine and also bring you in leads so that you're not just relying on these big companies to supply you leads that may never turn into anything. You remember, the more generic something is, the less quality lead you're going to get. So when someone comes to your website and it's your site and it's branded and it's your message and it's your voice and it's your expertise and it's your thoughts and your opinions, and when they start getting a sense of you and they place that call, they're already sold on you before they've even placed the call. I've got clients that are paying when they first come to me for coaching and training, they're paying big money to websites that are just feeding them leads. But they've gone onto these big websites and they're looking at the potential buyer, for example, is looking for a house in Seattle. And then that agent of mine is handed a lead for somebody who wants a house in Seattle. They then phone that person. That person's like, who are you? You know, what company are you with? How'd you get my information? It's a totally different kind of lead, because now they feel like they're on some name or some registry and they get freaked out. And that's a hard way to run a real estate business. I want a call where somebody's already checked me out online, they've seen my website, they're interested in me, they pick up the phone and now they want to talk to me. Or they send me an email, or they send me a text message, and now that's quality engagement. And my clients don't want quantity, they want quality engagement, and you have to have a strong brand to get there. Shauna, why don't you carry on?
I totally agree. I think that the brand really does tie it all together. You know, we've got a lot of our clients who do things like farm to an area. So they're sending out a postcard that directs the person to come and visit them on their website. Well, if people go to their website and then there's no cohesiveness, there's this big disconnect there. If you post information online, like via social media or something like that, and it links back to your website, again, it should look cohesive. I've actually dealt with a couple of real estate agents, actually more than just a couple, who maybe have, you know, they've got their company site, and then they maybe have this other lead generation site, and then they've got this other site, and it's like you go to one site for one thing, one site to something else, and people, it's too confusing. So, and when somebody finds you even through LinkedIn, I mean, there's some things that you can do on LinkedIn to establish your brand, and then if they're now checking you out on LinkedIn, they say, okay, well, I like what I see here, and then they're going to your website, you know, you want that to carry through too. So you want to look polished, you want to look professional, you want to tie it all together with a similar look and a similar voice. That's really very critical. So if you've been thinking about it, building a brand and getting your online systems polished, or maybe you've got a brand and it's just not applied to a website yet, we can help with all those things. Absolutely. So we do the website, we have it mobile friendly so people can view it on tablets and phones. And so if you have been thinking about this and just want to get some more information or wonder what the process is, you can reach out to us by phone or email, or you can even just comment in the website webinar console, and we'll reach out to you after the webinar to schedule a time to talk. So if you're an agent who's been doing a lot of print marketing and now you need that wow factor, or if you meet people live and you want to have a website full of resources, like let's say you meet them at an open house, and you want to direct people to your website as they check into your business, or if you work with people near or far, maybe you work with relocating people or want to connect with people that you haven't met, you really need to really look at your online presence, your website, and all the other as the main hub, and then all the other supporting information online that goes along with it. So we've got our information coming up here. So feel free to reach out. We are here to help. We're here to answer your questions. And Randy, let's go ahead and turn it over to questions. Did we have some questions that were asked?
Yeah, we've got time for just a couple of them here.
Yeah.
So let's get right to them. Denise, I've got a lot of content I've written at my brokerage website, but there aren't any options for customizing the look of it. So what can I do? I don't want to lose that content.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you don't have control over your website, if you cannot alter, change, edit, modify, update, add new things, then great. If you've got the content, what you do is you have a custom website built. You take all that content. Now, here's the good news. If you've got the content, you have got the hidden gems of the website. The content is so important and so valuable and powerful. But I would absolutely have that content transferred into a website that has a strong engine, because those template sites, people buy them online because they're cheap, they're easy, and you can have them up and done in half an hour, but it doesn't mean you're going to get found. It's just not going to happen. Definitely upgrade, and feel free to send a message out to Randy or to Shauna or I, and we're more than happy to look at what you've got and give you suggestions and say, here's the best way to really transition from what you've got into what you need. And that's the thing, is that people don't realize that you do have to, with technology, you cannot stay stagnant. It is not a lake, it is a flowing river. And if you're not flowing down that river of technology with web, the world of online presence and web, you're going to be left behind. So you do have to it definitely is the one part of your business where you have to take it in for regular maintenance checks. I'll tell you, it's a moving vehicle for sure. And that is, but here's the thing, once you do it, and we make changes to our website a lot, but the thing that we make sure is that we're on a custom platform, so that if I want to make a change, it's not like tearing the building down. It's like, oh, okay, I can do a little renovation here or there, right? So the building isn't condemned. With these templated sites, unfortunately, the building's condemned, the technology's old. You can't build upon that. That's not a strong foundation. So we don't do that kind of work. We don't do templated sites like that because they're not the engine of today. They are definitely the fad of yesterday, but they're not going to take you down the river. They're just, pretty sites sitting in the middle of a lake that they're not going anywhere, and we don't do that. So I hope that kind of answers that for you.
All right. In the interest of time, I'm going to combine these next two questions into one with two parts. So the first part is blogging worth it? And the second part is, I've long thought about blogging, but when I sit down, I'm dead on ideas. So what do you do for inspiration?
Okay, so first of all, there's two types of people out there. There are the people that like to write. There are people that don't like to write. I'll give you a great example. I've never in my life sat down just for the sake of writing out of enjoyment. So I'm guilty. I'm not a person that likes to write. I have a plan though, and my plan is I need to write content every single week. I've been doing that for 15 years, and every week I've ran that Zebra report every Thursday. I got to sit down and write content, and sometimes it gets hard and sometimes it gets difficult. My key is I just start writing. I don't have time to not think about it. I really literally have to come up with a thought or an idea, and it might just be a thought, and the thought might be any thought. But when you're doing content, the key is, if you don't like writing and you're better at speaking, then do video. And it might just be, and a really good way to do that. So if you're going to create a website and you want to do weekly content, but you're not going to be able to sit down and write the perfect article, or you might be, really picky about your grammar and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's fine. Then what you need to do then is you need to step back and say, maybe I could do a 1.5 minute video a week. And maybe every Monday it's Market Monday Update. And maybe so that's, there you have once a week you're doing a video. Or maybe you do Market Mondays, and then on another day a week you do another type of video, and now you've got literally 8 videos a month on your website. That's pretty powerful. It's not about creating long drawn out videos or even long drawn out content. It's about having an opinion, having a thought, and expressing that.
Those market update videos, those are great for agents who don't want to be in front of the camera too, because you can show what's happening in the market and talk behind the picture instead. Yeah. And then you can put like a screenshot of it and just write out a short summary of what you said underneath the video, and you're golden. You didn't have to think about what you had to write that much.
Exactly.
Okay. Last question. I'm preparing to move brokerages, and now I've realized I'm going to lose my website at my brokerage. So I'm thinking it's time to get my own, so this doesn't happen again. Is maintaining my own website expensive?
Randy, I'll have you address that, and I would say absolutely not. Yeah. No, it's not expensive. No.
So when you have your own website, one that's not being hosted, that's not located at your brokerage, you have 1 or 2 expenses that you need to take on. The first one is you need something called hosting. And hosting is it's like the dirt lot at the end of the street where you're going to build your house. So when you buy hosting, you're getting that dirt lot, and the house is the website that we're going to build on it. So you got to pay for hosting, and hosting comes down to about $5, $6, maybe $7 a month. That usually closer to $5, so not too bad. And if you're not going to do any kind of IDX services, that's your monthly costs, $5 to $7. If you want to have IDX services, that's where it can get a little bit more expensive, and it's also going to depend on your MLS. So if you go through most IDX services that you can have built into a custom website, they'll be somewhere in the range of $40 to $50 a month. And then you may have a data management fee that's added onto that by your MLS. So all in all, most of our agents' websites, I would say on average, the ones who are using IDX services, they're paying about $60 a month for that, which I don't want to name names or anything. I'm sure you guys have taken a look at other options that are out there, but that's definitely about 30–40% less than renting a website from some of the vendors that are out there. So it's affordable, and I think it pays for itself in terms of the services that you can then deliver to your clients that we've talked about earlier today, and the opportunities that it presents for people to verify you and then reach out to you as a business, because that's what they're doing online, and opportunities for people to connect with you through your website because of the different tools and ways that you have on there for them to contact you.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's all the questions that we had. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Denise. And thank you, too, to you, our audience, for spending your morning with us. If you have questions about today's presentation, you'd like to know more about how we can help you with your real estate business, just give us a call. Our phone number and email are right there on your screen. From all of us here at the Lonas Group, we wish you to have an excellent rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you.